Do you love Warhammer 40k? Well, I don't yet necessarily love Warhammer 40k. I kind of don't know anything about it. So today, I am going to be trying my best to become a Warhammer 40k fan, or at least make you all think that I have. The plan for today is to head over to the probably very good Warhammer 40k wiki, and I'm going to give myself exactly 1 hour on this website to try to become a Warhammer fan. I will be reading lore at probably random with suggestions of my live chat, who could maybe point me to things that are important. And then, speaking of the live chat, a lot of them have gotten together in the Discord and prepared me quizzes of different difficulty levels to see how well I am able to learn and retain this Warhammer 40k information. So let's dive in to what is hopefully the start of my real true fandom of Warhammer 40k. I guess we just pick on one of these factions. I know what a Space Marine is, so we're going to start there. Created by the Emperor from samples of the Primarchs. With the superhuman abilities, they conquered world after world in the name of mankind. So Space Marines fight for the human emperor of all mankind. Surely it's not that important that I know all about their weapons and equipment at the moment. Chapter portals. Oh gosh, so the factions have factions. Hey, this is a lot of information, huh? I'm now looking at this. There's no way I'm going to learn anything about how to play Warhammer 40k. That's not the goal. I want the lore. We're going to go read about the Emperor of Mankind. He seems important. Millions of psychers? All right. Astronomicon, that's a cool word. Space vessels through the warp. What's the warp? Chaos gods? Hey, I might have bit off more than I could chew. This is kind of a lot. Let's read the origins of the God Emperor of Mankind. And by read, I mean skim briefly. These men were powerful psychers with great experience of the warp. I'm going to need to know what that is. So I'm opening that in a new tab. That's allowed. The Emperor was born to mortal parents on Terra. Okay, so they're not actually a God Emperor necessarily. That seems like maybe propaganda. All right, all I'm really getting is that the Emperor of Mankind is the leader of this faction, and he's important because he can do the warp. He knows how the warp works. This seems incredibly important if you get to be the God Emperor of Mankind for understanding it. Psychic dimension parallel to real space. It is known by many names. Oh, I'm not going to remember those, and hopefully I'm not going to be quizzed on them. Warp space is a mirror dimension of pure energy, existing as a mirror of our own reality. It's the domain of the gods of chaos. What do we use the warp for? Can the God Emperor just control the God world? Or is he just allowed in there? Warp space is without form, and the laws of time and space do not apply there. A common analogy used to describe warp space compares the warp to a vast sea of energy, which is subject to constant movement, currents, undertows, etc. Immaterial space and real space bear a relationship as the dimensions parallel each other. The fact that they share this relationship allows a warp-capable craft to enter the warp, carried for a time along the warp flow until re-emerging. It's a little pocket dimension that they can go into and do hyperdrive. Notable locations within the warp? No fucking shot am I gonna remember the Garden of Nurgle. Oh, they're hitting Aetheric like this? I'm not ready, but I will continue to do my best. These are all the aspects of chaos. That seems like the kind of thing that I should remember, but like, I'm not taking notes. This is not an open notes test at the end, so I'm just not gonna. I don't need to read anything about warp travel. They go in the warp and they come out of it somewhere else. That's just going to be all it says. Are these what the people fight other than each other? Cannot exist for long periods of time in the real space any more than a mortal can survive unprotected in warp space. Oh, okay. So we don't have to worry too much about these freakos. Yeah, we got to learn about other factions. Next up is going to be orcs. I kind of know a little bit about the orcs. Warlike, crude, highly aggressive, greenskin, Xenos race. Okay, so exactly what orcs always are. Orc legend attributes their creation to the Brain Boys, extremely intelligent snortlings. External sources of the Necron. What is the Necron? A race of mechanical warriors. So Necrons are robots. We'll get to them later. Biology, I don't need to know how an orc's dick works probably, but it's cool that you can learn that on here. They got mech boys who do robots because they're genetically coded to know how to make robots. I'm not going to be good at remembering all of the clans and factions. Orcs believe in two gods. The subtle difference being that Mork hits you when you aren't looking and Gork hits you when you are. Alright, and if I ever say grok, I apologize. Part of the difficulty of this is that I am dyslexic and don't read that good. Warboss, odd boys, nubs, boys. Sure. Much of orc technology is unreliable and sometimes seemingly inoperable to other races, in some cases only working properly in the hands of an orc. This has led some members of the Adeptus Mechanis to theorize that the psychic nature of the orcs has an impact on the technology, assisting in making functions as it should. However, whether this is actually the case or not is inconclusive. Okay, I thought this was confirmed lore, one of the only things I knew. Let's read about Gork and Mork. Wow, that looks really gay. That's cool. Orc traits and emotions have reflections in the warp, the same as the traits and emotions of the human and Eldar do. I'm not learning anything new. Okay. New faction. 13 minutes? We're making okay time. No, we're not. There's a lot of factions, huh? Tyranids I've heard of before. We're gonna keep going with the ones I've at least heard of before, because I imagine that means they're most important. Tyranids, also known as the Great Devourer, are an extragalactic alien race whose sole purpose is the consumption. Alright, there's Zerglings. I maybe just don't read this, and I feel in my head that they are Zerglings, and everything about Zerglings from StarCraft is the same. They got a hive mind. Interesting. They eat planets, they have a hive mind, they're bugs. That'll give me a B-. There was a time in high school where I was assigned to read The Sea Wolf, a book that I did not actually read. I read the first chapter of that book, and I read the back cover, and I wrote my paper based off of that. And I got a B on that paper. And so I'm kind of hoping that today goes about like that. The Skitarii, mind-wiped cyborgs. Skitarii were created on Mars during the Age of Strife. Hey, they got our regular planets in there. This is just regular Earth, right? The Skitarii are from Mars, and they're mind-wiped robots, and somebody made them, theoretically. Forge worlds, I imagine, are just worlds that specifically exist to build things. Okay, so they got the good weapons because they're robots. That's fine. I need to have at least a brief summary of every faction in my head. So, to recap, Space Marines are the ones we all know. Orcs are stupid orcs. They're what you expect an orc to be. Tyranids are the Zerg. I don't know the other one we were just reading. Oopsie. There are robot people somewhere. Adeptus Custodius. Together with the Sisters of Silence, they present the talons of the Emperor as the right hand. Is the Emperor the same Emperor? It is. Okay, hold on. Are all these with the wings like the same team, kinda? Like, these are all God Emperor people, right? Our department of the Adeptus Terrace, the Imperial government, but its members are answerable only to the Emperor and their own leaders. Okay, so this is just another sub-faction, and they wear gold? Silent Sisterhood are an ancient, anti-psychic militant order and are internally referred to as the organization's Departamento Investigators. Okay, so they're detectives. They got a bunch of girl detectives on the case. The Sisters of Silence have a long history. Not true. I've seen the other pages. They don't have a long history. They have a 4 paragraphs history. The Sisters of Battle serve as the standing army of the Ecclesiarchy. There's another faction on here, right? No. God, it's all so confusing. Imperial cult, also called the Cult Imperialist in High Gothic, is the cult based on the worship of the Emperor of Mankind as Master Defender. They all just worship the same guy. I keep clicking all these factions and they're just like, yeah, the God Emperor for sure. All right, these people all worship the God Emperor, which means I imagine they're the same as the other people. Or maybe they secretly hate each other. I'm going to get all these questions wrong. Chaos. I imagine they're just from the warp and are weird. Yep, they're from the warp, and they're weird, and they got demons and warp storms and stuff. Starting to put stuff together. I know where Chaos is from. The Eldar Empire. No, wujak, no. What? What did I do wrong? Eldar? Oh, I'm sorry. The fucking Eldar Empire. They're not old people. They're just the old ones that are called something else. The old people are not in charge anymore. Aftermath? The Eldar Emperor became the Eye of Terror? That seems not great. A massive warp rift. Alright. Gotcha, that's all I need to know about that. War in Heaven. As an ancient and devastating series of conflicts fought roughly 65 to 65 million years before the 41st millennium, the War in Heaven is just an old war. That's fine. Which ones haven't I clicked? The League of Votan, prominent kin civilization. For thousands of years, they have exploited the riches of the poor and overcome the dangers of perilous region. We're about halfway through. I'm going to do summary time. I guess it's relevant for all of you to know that I am like a smart person and I have a master's degree. So like I was pretty good at school and studying. So watch me work. Watch me enter the Mind Palace and tell you everything I know about these people. Imperium, Space Marine, Astromaterium, they all worship the God Emperor. And they're like what you think of when you think of ultramarines like on the box art of a video game. These people are all robots, and they were born on Mars. These people were from Terran. These also worship the god emperors, but like in a lesbian way. And I think these people also do, but in a way that I forgot about. Chaos is people from the warp. They're all fucked up demons and stuff. These are the Eldars. They're just old. They were old and in the before times, and there was the War of Heaven that made them die. Orcs are like orcs, just like Shrek, and they do all the stuff that Shrek does. The Necrons are... I didn't look at that one. I hope I didn't look at Necrons. I don't remember. I also don't remember these. I don't think I clicked on that one. Tyranids are the Zerg. They eat planets, probably. And they're bugs. And then these people are also the Dark Eldar, and all of the Eldar stuff applies to them. But I think pretty good summary, right? Halfway through, I'm not doing too bad. Chaos looks like the Greendale flag from the community college butthole flag. I have been thinking of it the entire time, and I wasn't going to say it. But yeah, this very much does look like the flag that Jeff and crew in hit TV show Community tricked their community college into having as a flag that's supposed to look like a butthole. Gene Stealer Cults is a community of Gene Stealer hybrid, covert hosts infected with genetic... Okay, they're gene people. Ancient race of humanoids now long extinct. That means they're not relevant. I don't have to know about them. They're dead as shit. I should look more at chaos stuff. Okay. We're halfway through. I'll take a gentle hint. I already know about the warp. Do I gotta read more about the warp? About the gods of chaos? Oh, I didn't know there were Chaos Space Marines. Alright, let's read about the Black Legion. The Black Legion is the current largest warband of Chaos Space. Look at me intuiting which one would be the most interesting. I got the biggest one with my big brain. Formed after the defeat of the Sons of Horus in the Horus Heresy. The Black Legion are... bad guys. Let's go to the Emperor's Children. 20 original Space Marine legions, also known after their fall as the Lords of Prolificity. God, this is hard. I picked such a hard one. Why did I pick an easier fandom to get into for the first video of this kind? You still never looked at the Tau. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I got 30 minutes. Let me click all my buttons and read all the stuff. I'm learning here. I now know about the Emperor's Children, who's just another fucking Chaos faction of bad guys, I assume. I'm falling for the propaganda that the Terran people are definitely the good guys, and it's not problematic to worship the God Emperor at all. A young race of technology-oriented beings from the eastern fringe. Okay, maybe these are the good guys. These are my favorite now, actually, after that one sentence. The home planet was discovered in 789 M35. If you people quizzed me on dates, I'm fucked. The Tau legends tell of the first appearance of the Ethereals at the Byzantine city of Phoeton. Also, if you quizzed me on spelling, I'm going to miss all of them. Have 3 digits, a single opposable thumb on each hand. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, they seem neat. They got 3 fingers, and they're the good guys. We're using a kind of lifeline here. We're using a special technique. Check this shit out. Random page. The sevenfold conjunction. I'm going to Slumdog Millionaire this quiz. Watch this. The sevenfold conjunction is among a handful of Nurgle cults. Alright, I don't know if the random page is helping. It helps a glance at the timeline. I guess that's fair. Oh boy. No. Is ancient history our world time? Oh, they played God of War. Hold on. It is our world. Age of Terra ends. So Millennium 15... no more Earth. Whoa, it goes past 40k? Hold on, this is fucked up. The waning begins. That's the last thing to happen before 40k. The time of ending occurs and the Great Rift is formed with the extragalactic Tyranid threat. Alright, so the main thing is Imperium versus Tyranid, which I think is what I saw when I watched the trailers for Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, when it looked like it was a Left 4 Dead shoot lots of zombie hordes. I think that was Imperium versus Tyranid, which would make sense as like the core, most important regular thing going on. And then the other people kind of exist, right? So they got the warp, and that's the chaos world that they're able to travel through for warp speed, and inside of there are like demons and all kinds of scary shit that can't really come out of there. And the God Emperor understands the warp, and they're able to use the warp. But also other people, like the Mechanicus, that are warp people, or not warp people, that are robot people, and the Gene Splicers and the Orcs can all, like, to some degree, interact with the warp, because the warp is made up of all of their swirling, like, emotions and thoughts and everything, and that goes on into the warp, and it's exactly like Kingdom Hearts in that it's super important and everyone wants to do stuff with it, and it's got all of your hearts in there, but also it's been 13 games and we don't know what it is, and I couldn't explain to you what Kingdom Hearts is exactly. That's the warp. And the warp, they're able to go in, and it's helpful to go in there because you get to warp travel, and it's a swirling realm of chaos that is like the sea with currents and undertows and everything like that, and also is scary. Sounding good? I think I'm killing it, honestly. I feel like I understand a lot. When I say I feel like I understand a lot, what I mean is I have looked at a very small fraction of what is in this wiki, and I have comprehended and remembered most of what I've seen. Not necessarily that I understand a large portion of everything that's Warhammer 40k, but I feel like I got a good grasp on the basics. Let's read the next part. Indominus Crusade is waged. Was launched by the resurrected Primarch Roboto Guilliman after he declared himself the Lord Commander of the Imperium. What about the God Emperor? Did the God Emperor die? Which was divided his father's empire in half. Is his father the God Emperor? Yeah, okay. Indominus Crusade is started by the Primarch Robot Guilliman, who is the son of the God Emperor, and started a war. Gilman's forces consist of troops of the Space Marine chapters led by the Imperial Fifth. Those are joined by the Imperial Guard. All right, the Mechacum people are on that team. The people who are born on Mars and are made of robot parts. The Custodes, who I don't remember and are probably like the janitors or something. The Lesbians, the Imperial Navy, which is self-explanatory. The Sikatali, I don't know the Sikatali. I don't think. Do I? I do. They're Tech Guard. They're the Mind Wipe Cyborgs. Mind Wipe Cyborgs on the team. Crusade underway. Who are they fighting against? Hold on. To liberate those Imperial worlds in a battle by the forces of chaos following the creation of the Great Rift. Some chaos shit leaked out and started taking over some of the world. And God Emperor's son was like, actually, fuck that shit. I'm the God Emperor Junior of everything, and that includes the places that the chaos is taken over. So I'm
here to kill chaos.
So like a bunch of rift is leaking out through the Eye of Terror, and that is what Junior's fighting. It's an area of the galaxy where the warp and real space overlap. Yeah, I figured that part out, and everything bad comes from there. Mortals within the Eye, constantly exposed to the effects of chaos, are physically warped to their bodies to reflect their flawed natures. The Death Guard, for example, worship Nurgle. I think I've heard that word before. The god of decay is the chaos god of despair, decay, and disease. Oh, I need to learn these. Hold on. I remember seeing these all linked on a page. These. The gods of chaos are Crone, Nurgle, Silenish, and Tizak. Crone is the blood god, anger, violence, all the stuff that goes with that. Nurgle is death and disease. Salish is lust and greed and excess and pain and pleasure and perfection. So this is the sexy one, and that's why it starts with an S. We're using mnemonics, chat room. Write these down. They're important. Tijanik is a god of chaos who represents the vitality and validity of change, closely associated with the sorcery of magic. Tizak is magic, the sexy slutty one, death and disease, and fire and blood and anger. 10 minutes left. Chat room, this is your chance to vaguely point me to things that are important to know. Horus Heresy. Horus Heresy, also known as the Age of Darkness or the Age of the Great Betrayal, was the first and most devastating galaxy-spanning civil war in the Imperium, occurring in the 31st millennium and lasting several years. This is stepping out of the learning everything for a second and just being like the wildest thing that I have realized about Warhammer 40k is that it spans millenniums, and then it says shit like, this thing happened in the 31st millennium and then lasted for a few years. That's insane. The time scale makes no sense. All right, anyway, back to learning. All right, it was a big war. However, the Horus Heresy truly began after the War Master Horus was wounded. Who's Horus? One of the 20 Primarchs created by the Emperor in the earliest days of the Imperium of Man. You should perhaps look at the different flavors of Space Marine. Ultramarines are the Ultramarines. Salamanders are just, they're fine. No, I don't need to know this. Look at the last moments of Heresy. All right, that's a little bit more than a subtle hint. Open Rebellion. The final phase is so long. The Emperor's final command began the Great Scouring. Without the Primarchs, the traitor legions themselves engaged in a bitter civil war under Abaddon, assuming the epithet of the Despoiler. That's a shitty name. Pick something better, dude. and then old robot Gilman steps up. Abaddon is like the fourth most important character in the whole setting. Ezekiel Abaddon, more commonly known as Abaddon the Despoiler. You know how the Riddler has a daughter named Stephanie who went, not the Riddler, the I don't know, the Quizmaster or whatever the fuck his name is. I know I'm on the clock, but this is important. Has a daughter named Stephanie who becomes the spoiler because she just gives away the answers to his clues and stuff. Hush, it's not Hush. It's something stupider than that. It's like the Riddler, but he sucks. The despoiler is then Stephanie's kid who unspoils it. It's Quizmaster, I think. It's not. Clue Master. I was pretty close. The Clue Master is his name. Running the clock hard, though. I know, I got 5 minutes. This was important. It's important for me to remember the despoiler, okay? This isn't about me just spouting Batman lore because I triggered a special interest and now I'm doing it wrong. It's because I need to remember the despoiler, which makes me think of the spoiler, which makes me think of the Quizmaster, which makes me think of Batman stuff. It's important. This is how you study. This is how you remember things. You associate things with other things and then you can remember them. Take this tip from an actual, like, highly educated, dumb nerd. This part's important. Wujak, you might be cooked on my quiz, let alone theirs. Josh, I know everything. I know all of it. And if I don't pass the quizzes, you all built the quizzes wrong. I want to also warn you that I'm a really good test taker. And part of this is just me setting up to be able to logic out, like, multiple choice or whatever. Unless you made them all open question, and I am fucked and I won't get a single one right. 3 minutes left. Random page. The Watch Captain. You're not important. No Lamp Collar. That sounds hot, but I'm not going to read what it is. Hammer and Bolter 2 is the November 2010 issue, although the actual release was in December. All right, random quiz is not helping. I should maybe know more about the Tyranid, other than just saying that they're bugs and the Zerglings. Though I think they really are that. The Tyranids seem to be able to achieve FTL travel through an organism known as the Narval. So they don't really use the warp, they just go fast. 2 minutes. I'm thinking through everything in my head. And I think I remember everything that we've talked about. The mech people from Mars, the Imperium, Space Marines fighting the Tyranids with the help of the lesbians. Old robot Gilman is the God Emperor's son, and he's now fighting to try to take back over the Eye of Terror, which is where the warp has spilled into the real world, and he's trying to take that territory back or whatever. And that's probably a good thing to do. The Tau have 3 fingers. That's definitely on the quiz. The Zerglings eat planets. They're the Tyranids. Actually, don't call them the Zerglings. That's incorrect. Well, I think that's it. I think I'm done. I think we get 1 minute to victory lap, and everyone can clap and praise me for how good I did. Anything I should look at with 1 minute left on the clock. Knowing that there's actually 40 seconds left on the clock, and that there is at least a 10-second stream delay. Gilman, Dexter, Umberto, Gorky, Sabrina. They got a... Oh, that's time. Time on the clock. Closed. It's gone. I just see this now. We did it. I learned everything, and I actually do feel decently confident. I feel like I know things that a person who wasn't a Warhammer fan wouldn't know. And now I'm heading over to the Discord, where I see that the most recent comment is just one of the people who helped make all the quizzes saying, "She's so fucked," smile emoji. Look at this, the quiz portion. Thank you to my community who made these quizzes. There was a think tank in the Discord, link below if you're watching on YouTube. And a bunch of people came together and they made some quizzes because they're big Warhammer 40k fans, and that's part of the reason I wanted to do this. So they have made me 3 quizzes. One that is apparently called the Warhammer Wujorkel for babies. I think there's a medium and an expert order one. Now, if I pass the expert quiz and failed the baby quiz, I'm still an expert. Highest one passed matters. And a passing grade is anything I'm happy about. All right, ready? Let's go. The chaos god of disease and rot is Nurgle. The Eldar are old and washed and dead and not on Terra. They're not on the craft words. Those are the robot people. The other 2 words, I didn't see at all. But I'm going to go with Kamorga. Fuck. They're the craft world people? That's not true. Josh, fact check that. How did the Eldar accidentally manifest a chaos god? Now, I do think maybe my community has decided to be a little bit funny here. I'm going to go all of the above, because if it's all of the above as an option, it's normally that. Nurgle is disease. Crone is blood and stuff. S is sexy, slutty time. Tzalk is nerd shit magic, which I think would also be scheming and plans. Nailed it. What is the most important world in the Imperium? Terra. The League of Legends. I think I've seen the word Vortan. Josh, this is messed up. You know I'm dyslexic. This question's not fair. I think it's Vrotan actually. If it's Votan, this mentally counts. It's Votan. That's a messed up. You did a bad job of baiting the dyslexic girl. Pleasure and pain. S for sexy slutty time. Which of these is not one of Slash's nicknames? I didn't look at this. The Drinker of Worlds. Damn. I was very wrong. Who are the gods of the orcs? Mork and Bork. Nope, that's not true. Grok. It's Grok and Mork. Which of the Space Marine chapters is made up of vampires? Didn't read that at all, but it's probably the Blood Angels? It was. Hell yeah. Which Space Marine chapter is associated with fire? The Salamanders? Hey, I didn't read about the Salamanders at all, but I do know that there is a Salamander Pokemon that's a fire type, so... I've never heard the name Kroot before, but that sounds like some orc shit. Approximately how many psychers are sacrificed to the Emperor every day? 10,000. That was a pure guess. Which chaos god would wujak serve? The slutty sexy one. What's the bestest faction? Gosh, this is mean, but it's the most excited one, I guess. What are orcs? Somebody in my chat said that they're all non-binary funguses. What's the Puppy Girl Space Marine chapter? The Luna Wolves are a thing, but you're making shit up. That one doesn't count, obviously. Josh, you're not supposed to be funny. I'm the funny one. Which of the following is false? Red vehicles go faster. Yellow bombs have bigger explosions. Purple orcs are stealthy. Orange orcs have better aim. They're not going to paint themselves. Which Space Marine chapter is blue for an amazing reason? The Ultramarines, because that's what's on the cover of all this stuff in the games. What is Josh's favorite Space Marines chapter? Josh, how would I know this? You said Puppy Girls were the Space Wolves. I'm picking it again. It was the best Wujacker bonus questions. First of all, you're not called that. To be clear, this is not what my community is or ever will be called. You're not one of those. Second of all, only one of these can be correct. So one of these is the right answer. And I am currently 14 out of 21, which is not a great score, but 15 out of 21 does feel pretty good. Fuck. I was close. I was close. I got a 67? I got a 6-7? Hell yeah, we'll say I did that on purpose. Let's go. That's good luck. Obviously, this is a passing grade. Anything over a 50% is a pass. Medium quiz time. Thank you, Mimi Moonbeam, for putting this one together. And also just the whole think tank in general. Which of these is a real chapter? The Blood Angels. They're the vampires. Primaris refers to the Imperial Space Marine. No. How many Black Crusades have there been? 12 was an important number, but for something completely unrelated, but I'll go with that. Check all of the models that are currently playable models. No. Rogue Traders is a video game, so not that one. Which of these is the proper name for Space Marines? I saw this word a lot. Never saw any of these words at all. Probably that one. Which of these is the newest Chaos God? With no reason to believe this, I'm going to pick the Wizards only because they were last on the wiki. Orcs produce via spores? Yeah. That sounds right. What's the name of the area of space where chaos rules? The Eye of Terror. I learned that. In orc culture, red goes faster, blue ones are lucky, and yellow ones are bigger. So I learned that not in the wiki, but during Josh's quiz. Thank you, Josh. However, what planets do they tend to avoid? Necron tomb worlds, probably, because they're yucky and dead. Who was the prime monarch of the Space Wolves? Two of these say Limon, two of these say Russ, so probably this one. The Mechanus is based on its home planet of Mars. True. The Tau Emperor consists of many species, but which of the following is one of them? The one with 3 fingers. Don't remember ever seeing any of these words. Kroot. What is the name of the elite unit of Imperial Guards commanded by the renowned Commissioner Ibram Grant? Hey, none of you are quizzing me on Robot Gilman, the one name that I actually knew. You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? Boom. Oh, that's over half. We passed again. We're a medium expert. I'm fucking killing it. Amazing. How? Because I studied. Now the big one. If I pass this, I'm going to jump for joy. This one comes to us from regular Zebra, who is, I'm going to just say a big old freak about this stuff. We're locking in. This is my ultimate test. Which faction won the War of Heaven? The Imperium of Man? Probably. And then started the God Emperor's rule? Nope, the Necron. Ooh, that's not great. Which tank is named after the man who discovered it? People discovered tanks? I've heard this name before. How many Space Marines are allowed to be in one chapter according to the Codex? 1,000, because that's how many they sacrifice. Which prime monarch landed on the world of Medusa? People keep saying Limon Russ all the time. It can't be, right? But it's the only name I know is real, except for Horus. It's gotta be Horus. If it's Limon, I'm so mad, but it's gotta be Horus. Fuck. Alright, it was neither of them. That's fine. Ooh. Wait, no. Josh quizzed me on this too. Votan was the word that he spelled wrong and tricked me because I have dyslexia. Sleeping gods. Fuck. What is the name of Gruzgul's lucky grot? Oh, no. Oh! Purple's the sneaky color. Which Eldari god guards the Black Library? This is the god of blood, so I know it's not that one. So I can get us down to a 1 and 3. I've never heard these other words before at all. Isha. Which of the guard regiments is old? Well, the 8th. Obviously, there's the 7th. The Firstborn sounds pretty new. Nope. Okay. Which chaos god does Shalaxi Hellblade serve? Hellblade sounds like some blood and war and fucking shit up. No, they're the sexy kind. Damn it. Which of these is not a real unit? Crew carnivores. Horus. Nope, never Horus. Which of these Space Marine legions is named after a poem about being gay in the Catholic Church? Blood Angels. It's never the words I know! Which orc clan likes mimicking the human military? No clue. Why would the Emperor's children be there? They're too important. Nope. Okay. Hey, it's crazy that I have missed this many. Blind guessing would have done better. I am at less than a 25% hit rate. What is the ruling cast of Tau? The Eternals. Yeah, we got one! We did it! I remembered something. The Sanctified sounds cool. Nope. The Flesh Terrors? That's messed up. Which Primarch briefly served as the Emperor of the ill-fated Imperium? Robert Gilman is the current GOAT, so he wasn't ill-fated. Horus messed stuff up, but was, like, too important to have been ill-fated, right? No, they, like, killed him or whatever. It's Horus. It's not. I was gonna guess that one. No, I talked myself out of it. What were the Death Guards named before they were named the Death Guards? Dusk Riders. Pure guess. Who rules the dark city of Komarog? No. Okay. What color do orcs believe is the luckiest? Yellow is big. Red is fast. I don't know what blue or green is. Purple was stealthy. Orange was a lie. Oh, I lost the 50-50. I was like, orcs are green. They probably think themselves. But they wouldn't have to paint things if it was already themselves. Oh, I really skipped over the Gene Stealer cults. I almost picked that one, but I was just guessing. Which Inquisitors is responsible for the Octarius War? Oh, I got one at the end, 24%. Not great, necessarily. I can't claim to be an expert, but I can claim to be a medium Warhammer fan, an average normal one. I know as much as somebody who casually likes Warhammer 40k, and so I think that actually went super well. Mega big thank you to everyone who watched, but even bigger thank you to everyone who helped prepare this and put together these quizzes. And if any of you are big fans of any other fandom that I may or may not know, drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know what I should study next. Otherwise, follow, like, subscribe, check out the Patreon. Thank you to these people for subscribing on Patreon and helping make this kind of stuff more possible. Thank you to everyone in the live chat, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye. No, somebody in chat said reads the Homestuck wiki. I'm not going to do that one. It seems cringe.